Hi guys, and welcome back to my channel. Today it's time to freak out about some books I read from January to June, first half of the year. Let's jump into it. Right, so I have my trusty tablet. I haven't looked at these questions since last year and I haven't watched anyone's video yet. I know this is not like a sporadic tag, but I'm surrounded by my books. I've got the majority of the books that I've read and loved down below because I know that that question will come up. But let's look at the first question. So the first question is best book you've read so far in 2021. That is really hard because I have read so many good books. Some honourable mentions I'll just throw up here. The Stand. Wow. Like Bone China by Laura Purcell. There's so many good books I read, but I think what I'll do is cheat a bit. I'll show one book in this and then we'll just talk about the rest. So go to the 100,000 Kingdoms. It was brilliant and I loved it. The characters in this book just have my heart. So let's say the 100,000 Kingdoms by N.K. Jemisin for best book of the year. I've just read so many books this year that I've just fallen in love with. So maybe I should do a like all my 5-star reads of this year, because this year has been just chef's kiss. I might do that. But yeah, 100,000 Kingdoms by N.K. Jemisin is brilliant. We are following Kaihlynd as she is the leader of her particular village, country, but she gets called to the kingdom by the ruler, who is her granddad, and she gets entered into this competition to compete for ruling, even though she doesn't really want it. And there's gods and things happen, and it was so good. I really adored this book. There is something about N.K. Jemisin's writing I just can't get enough of. It's so good. Okay, this is where this question becomes a little hard because I am trying to wrap up series this year, and that is best sequel you have read this year. And I'm just going to hold up 2 series because they're equal. They're equal. I haven't finished the Inheritance trilogy, which I do this all the time, but you know, I binge read the City of Brass trilogy, and these characters have my heart. I love them. I adore them. They hold a special place. And City of Brass, we follow Nari as she is a con artist in 18th century Cairo, and she doesn't believe in magic, yet she goes around tempting magic, pretending to do magic, and then she tries something different one day, and what do you know? Magic may or may not exist. And we follow her on that adventure, and it was so good. It was definitely worth me waiting to get this in paperback, so they all match. I mean, the covers are absolutely stunning. I love these covers so much, and I am a paperback girl through and through. I adore paperbacks. I think they just make life so much easier, which is funny because the next series that I have to mention in here, because I did a whole reading blog dedicated to this series, and that is The Bone Season. And while these aren't in order because the paperbacks, I wouldn't mind having this in hardcover just because the hardcovers are so pretty. So The Bone Season is set in 2059, and we follow Paige Mahoney as she is a clairvoyant, and in this new city of Scion that rules basically the UK, Scion doesn't like clairvoyance, and Paige is a clairvoyant, and what do you know? She may or may not get caught in this first book, and it just leads off this beautiful series. So you've got The Bone Season, The Mime Order, which was amazing, Song Rising, which was amazing, The Mask Falling, which was amazing. You also have The Dawn Chorus, which hurt me in so many ways. But yeah, this is just such a good series. They both are. I adore them. They're so good. Highly recommend. They are some of my best sequels and my favourite series of all time, period. Question is a new release you want to read but you haven't yet. Madam, I own this book on my Kindle, and this is dark academia, gothic horror. It's about this school for girls and bad things start happening. I'm annoyed I haven't read it yet because, you know, I've got it on my Kindle. It's just sitting there. So fingers crossed I will get to that soonish. I am trying to dwindle down. I'm like looking at my TBR stack. It's terrifying. It just keeps growing. As well as Madam, I am being cheeky and going to add 2 in here because I have to. The Road Trip by Beth O'Leary. All I know is 2 people who used to date, who don't date anymore, are shoved in a car, similarly for a road trip, and things happen. I have been so impressed with the Flatshare and the Switch. I loved both of those last year, and I'm really excited to read this. I am being weird and a bit fussy. I kind of want to wait for it to be in paperback, but we'll see if I can hold out that long. So the next question is the most anticipated release of the second half of the year, and this easily, hands down, is The Heart Principle by Helen Wong. I've read The Kiss Quotient and The Bride Test. I loved both of these, and in this we are following our main character Anna as she deals with the success of her career after being a viral sensation on YouTube. She's a violinist and she's dealing with complications with her boyfriend, and then she meets a tattooed ruffian named Juan. And I'm assuming romance ensues. I'm so excited. I love her writing. It's just chef's kiss, beautiful. Very, 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 very excited to read this. This one is Biggest Disappointment. Now, this is a hard one because there are some terrible books I have read this year, but I didn't go into them with expectations. However, these 2 that I'm going to show I still loved, but they just missed the mark. The first one is We Were Liars by E. Lockhart. I expected more from this. I didn't hate the story. I think I gave it like 4 stars, but I just expected something that it wasn't. And maybe it's because I knew spoilers going into this. That was totally my fault. I didn't think I was ever going to read this. Wasn't a bad book. I just wouldn't put it under thriller. And I think that's where my expectation lies. It's definitely more contemporary for me. It's where it lives on my shelves. The next one, A Vow So Bold and Deadly. I cried when I finished this book because I adore the characters in here. I'm not gonna lie, like, I'm a sap. And I still gave it 5 stars. So it's still good. And it's definitely worth reading. So many of the problems could have been fixed with communication. And normally I don't mind communication tropes. But for whatever reason, it just really, I don't know. It just needed a bit more. But this is still a wonderful series. But that's why it's not on best sequels, because I don't know. Still 5 stars. Still love it. Still love Bridget Kimmerer's writing. Still will read her next book that's coming out. But it let me down a smidge. The next one is Biggest Surprise. Now, I have a few answers for this because this year has definitely been surprising book-wise, like in a good way. Let's start with the first one, The Stand. I love this book and I can't stop thinking about it. I want to reread it. It's a monster of a book, but it was good. Like, I'm thinking about readjusting my rating. It was so good. Yeah, I can't say any more about it. In this, we follow the end of the world and people coming together to survive it. The Maidens by Alex Michaelides. Huge surprise. Like, I went into this hesitant. I wanted to love this. I really enjoyed it. And it's making me rethink how I felt about The Silent Patient. But in this, it's a thriller, dark academia. Dark academics. But yeah, this was really good. It was so good. So worth like having a physical copy of as well. In this, we're following Marianne as she is going to comfort her niece at Cambridge University because her best friend is missing, and then weird things start to happen. Thrillery things start to happen. Uncomfortableness starts to happen. There's like a cult with girls dressed in white ran by a male staff member. It was good. It was good. I enjoyed it. And then the other one is another big chunky book, World Without End. I put this off for so long because I was worried it wasn't going to compare to Pillars of the Earth, which it's still didn't, but did. Like, I really enjoyed this, and there is something about the way Ken Follett writes mundane stories that should be boring, and he brings them to life. This was excellent, my friends. So good. Favourite new author? This easily has to go to The Memory Police by Yoko Ogawa. Now, I have read several books from the same author, but they're not new to me. However, I adored this book. It was so beautiful, so lyrical. Like, it could fall under books that surprise me. I need a physical copy. This just struck me in the feels and was just chef's kiss. It was beautifully written. I want to read more by them. So good, so good. And this is about a place where people wake up and normally something is gone from their memory, like books or vinyls or paintings, and these things all get taken out of the house and burned. And they're all controlled by the memory police, but there are a few people who still remember, and that is not good. It was just so good. It was so good, and I loved it so much. So much. So, newest Fictional Crush. There's a few, so I'm just gonna give you them. Ali and Dara. Warden. Nahadoth. Like, she writes some of my favourite fictional crushes. I just needed to say that. Made me cry. This one is gonna have to go to the pill. Like the true fan I am, I got the name wrong. I meant the Dawn Chorus, not Pale Dreamer. If you saw my vlog, you will know how I feel about that. But yeah, I'll be quiet now. The segue between the songwriting and the mask falling, it joins those two stories up, and ow, my heart. Sad and happy tears. That's all I'm going to say, because it's a spoiler. Book that made me happy. Oh, this is hard. But, Dear Mrs. Bird, this made me happy. This is about a girl called Emmy who is working as kind of like a clerk as well as like a firefighter's assistant in the Second World War in London, and she really wants to be a female war correspondent, and so she sets her sights on this by applying for a job she thinks at a newspaper, ends up being a women's magazine, and yeah. Oh no, I can't include this. I read this in July. Dang it. 1 second. But this made me... Oh, this is Other Words for Home. This is so beautiful. We follow our main character Jade as she is dealing with the fact that she's been separated from her dad and brother who are in Syria, and her mum have come to live with her uncle and cousin in Cincinnati, I think. Yeah, in the States. And she's dealing with adjusting to that. She's dealing with loneliness, with trying to fit in. It's written in prose. There was something beautiful about this book, and at the end of it, it just made me happy. It was like, just warm, I guess, is how I would describe that. It's the most beautiful cover that you bought or received this year. I'm back. This is technically breaking the rules, but I'll add in a couple more to appease people. The Maidens, I think this cover is really beautiful. Don't know why. There's just something appealing about the gold, white and black. Also, The Familiars, this cover is just absolutely stunning. I adore it. I want to have it front out displayed. I think it's beautiful. You've got like foxes and things that relate to the story. It's just so lovely. I love it. But the one I want to talk about the most I bought in July. But I'm going to include it because I got a copy of Rebecca and I think this is so pretty. I know it's not like the same as the hardcover edition, but equally so. Hello. This is so pretty. And to have like the most mundane spine ever to that. Oh. And I'm currently reading this at the minute, but yeah. Rebecca. What books do you need to read by the end of the year? All of them? All the books? But in all honesty, there are a few that are springing to mind. I would like to read A Column of Fire by Ken Follett. This is the third book in the Kingsbridge series, because the fourth book, which is actually a prequel, has come out and I want to read it. I would like to at least read the second book in the Inheritance trilogy, if not the third and the short story. There's a few books I would like to get to for vlogging, like Lord of the Rings. There's just so many books. There's so many books. Right, so that is my mid-year book Freakout tag. What has been your most favourite book of 2021? I will get around to doing like my 5-star read so far, because there's been so many incredible books this year. Maybe I'm just picking better, although there have been some duds. Anyway, I hope you're all staying happy, safe and healthy, and I'll see you soon in another video. Bye guys.